This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, Short Stories, The Stepmother, Part 2. When we left off, Catherine was reminiscing on her life with Nigel and getting her game plan together for how this little lunch with his 5 children was gonna go. Her plan was to address them all together and then address them each individually. She was gonna have to show them who she was, not just tell them. And while she could just throw her weight around, building relationships with her adult stepchildren was going to be much more effective. She knew that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. But the best fly traps made it easy for flies to get in and hard for them to get out. So while she didn't really want to make nice with Nigel's children, and she didn't care whether they liked her or not, she did need their respect and their trust. Because at the end of the day, she needed them to need her. She needed them to know that they needed her. And she needed them to know that she held the fulfillment of those needs in the palms of her hands. So she watched as they got seated around the table on the back patio. She listened to their conversation, per usual. Star said, "This lady always want to make grand entrances. Why she couldn't be waiting for us this time?" Saint said, "Sis, chill out. We on her time. You seem to keep forgetting that she doing us a favor, not the other way around." Simone said, "Well, I don't like this. I feel like we're going to end up owing her. And I don't want to owe anybody anything, especially not the very woman that our father burned in the process of making us." That was Catherine's cue. She walked out onto the patio and said, "I ain't never been burned, honey. And I'm certainly not bitter. I hope you all have been enjoying your accommodations, taking the time that you all need to grieve the death of your father, and getting the answers from your mother that you need." Shantal said, "Well, we've been doing the first part, but the second part, no. Because we don't know." And before she could finish, Simone elbowed her and said, "Don't tell her all our mother's business." Catherine said, "Simone is right. I don't need to know anything about your mother. My concern is you 5, and how I can be an instrument in each of you taking your rightful positions in this family. While your father left you nothing tangible, he left a legacy that's available to you. And since you've agreed to be a part of this family, it's time that we discuss what that looks like. For 3, almost 4 generations, the St. James family has been a force to be reckoned with in the criminal underworld, in Trinidad and around the world. Together with 4 other prominent families, the St. James family has dealt in pharmaceuticals, weapons, and human capital. By now you understand that your father was the head of the St. James family, and I was his twin. He was the face, and I was the brain. The St. James family is now on its 4th generation, and it has a new face, but I am still the brain. In the coming months, I'll be preparing this family for another leadership change. Your brother Sincere will be the face of the family. And in the coming years, I'll teach him everything that I know so that I can retire fully and he can carry the full weight of the St. James name, organization, and legacy. He has a lot of work ahead of him. That means that he won't have time to babysit, pacify, or soothe you 3. Neither will Saint. Star said, "I don't need to be babysat, and I don't need to be pacified or soothed either, especially not by my brothers." Catherine said, "That's good to hear." Simone said, "We're in college, and we're going to go back to college and continue with our lives. All we need to know from you is what to do and what not to do." Catherine said, "It's not quite that simple. Each of you will need to know how to keep yourselves, your siblings, and this family safe. You'll need to know how to spot a cop and an enemy and pick up on a tail. You'll need to be able to kill a man or a woman without a weapon." Shantal said, "See, I'm not interested in killing anyone." Catherine said, "If they're trying to kill you, you'd better kill them." Shantal said, "Well, I can't think of any reason why anybody would be trying to kill me." Catherine said, "I can think of 50 million. Your father wasn't a corner boy. He wasn't even a plug. Nothing moves in, out of, or around Trinidad without the blessing of the St. James and Baptiste families. And nothing happens around the world without the knowledge of the 5 families. So all it would take is for the wrong somebody to learn that you're somebody, for your safety, your freedom, and your life to be on the line. I think you'd want to know how to stay alive Shantal just looked at her sisters, and they just looked at Catherine. Simone said, "So what do we need to do?" Catherine asked, "Did you pack up everything that you have at the house before you came here, like you were asked?" When they all said yes, Catherine said, "Everything that you left there will be brought to this house. When we're done with our meal, you'll say goodbye to your brothers. They have work to do, and the four of us will get better acquainted. You'll return to school in 3 days, and you'll continue with your lives, but it will not be business as usual. In the coming weeks and months, you'll connect with the family members who have been assigned to mentor and train you for the roles for which you are best suited. They'll also arrange for your physical and mental training. You'll need both to stay safe. When you return to school, though, you'll have a team of guards assigned to you around the clock. Your school's already been made aware. Unless there's an issue or you get that good, you'll never spot them. You'll never even know who they are. But they'll always be there. You won't make a new friend, get a new boyfriend or girlfriend, change majors, take a job, move, relocate, or travel for work, school, or leisure without me being informed. You won't see a doctor, go to a hospital, or talk to law enforcement without contacting me first. You won't change your diet, start a new medication, or begin a new exercise routine without running it by me first. Star said, "You don't think that's a little extreme?" Catherine said, "You are no longer your own woman. Everything you say, everything you do, everywhere you go, no longer just affects you. It never did. There are now thousands of people connected to the choices and decisions that you make. One wrong move, and you put the lives of your siblings, the members of this family, and the employees of this organization on the line." Star said, "So we're going to be walking on eggshells?" Catherine said, "No. You'll be living smarter, making wiser decisions, and considering the greater good, not just what feels good, what looks good, and what tickles your fancy in the here and now. If you have questions that are for the good of the group, ask them now. Otherwise, we'll talk individually." Simone said, "Do you have a problem with the fact that I have a girlfriend?" Catherine said, "I have a problem with the fact that you and your girlfriend think it's appropriate to put your hands on one another." But that wasn't a question that was good for the group. Shantal said, "So our lives can continue the way that they are, basically, and we just need to let you know if we change something?" Catherine said, "You need to let me know that you plan to change something. If your plan doesn't align with the best interests of the family, then that plan will be canceled." Shantal said, "Is there room for negotiation?" Catherine said, "Always." Star said, "So it's not just going to be like a blanket no." Catherine said, "That depends on what it is. Understand, technically, this is your world. Everyone in it is a squirrel trying to get a nut." Star said, "Now, I like how that sounds." Catherine said, "But everyone in it has a responsibility. Every cog in the St. James wheel has to function as a part of a well-oiled machine. No individual part can go rogue, off script, and beat to its own drum. Each part has to work in concert with the other parts. We work to keep one another safe, not just ourselves. If it doesn't make dollars for the whole, it doesn't make sense for the individual." Simone said, "Are you more worried about one of us than the others?" Catherine said, "I'm worried about all of you. At 19 years old, you're going to have to learn lessons that most members of the St. James family, most members of the 5 families, have been learning since they were in the womb. Q and Angela's 14-year-old autistic daughter was ambushed at her boarding school. All of the guards who were on duty were killed. Her personal protection dog was poisoned, all in an effort to kidnap her. An international trafficker was behind it." Shantal said, "Oh my God, what happened?" Catherine said, "She overpowered one, saved the life of her dog, and killed the other one." Star said, "Damn." Catherine said, "Then she held the one she overpowered hostage, got a confession out of him, and held him in an underground bunker until her father showed up." Simone said, "And you said she's 14 and autistic?" Catherine said, "Precisely." Shantal said, "But how did she?" Catherine said, "She was well trained. This family is successful. We've been in position for as long as we have and avoided most legal issues because each member is invested in the success of the family. And all members are prepared for the unexpected. We avoid taking unnecessary risks while recognizing that everything we do is a risk. We stay ready so we don't have to get ready. And we put the right people in the right positions and ensure that they're prepared to handle whatever comes their way. The possibilities for you girls are limitless. But I knew your father, and I know that there are some roles that he would never want his daughters in. But you'll still have the opportunity to choose. I'll have the final say, though. My goal, though, is to keep your hands as clean as possible and provide you with options that lead you to a fulfilled, successful life. What we haven't discussed is all of the legitimate possibilities. The St. James family holdings are vast, and they span from the legal to the illegal. There are lanes for you girls in both worlds. You just need to be prepared for the ramifications that come along with the illegal world. But you do not have to choose to move around in it, work in it, or live in it. Every member of your family is a business owner, and they own businesses that were built with legitimate funds. Businesses that the government can't touch. If, God forbid, they ever got wind of the criminal activity. Because the two worlds are kept completely separate. Star said, "So there's room for me to do my interior designing and fashion?" Catherine said, "Of course. All of the leaders in this family like nice things. We wear custom and we patronize small, woman-owned and black-owned businesses as a practice." Simone said, "And so there's room for me to work in finance?" Catherine said, "That's a joke. We move money, millions and millions of dollars on a daily basis." Simone said, "Legitimate money?" Catherine said, "Absolutely." Shantal said, "But where's there room for what I do?" Catherine said, "Even thugs need therapists." And all 5 of the children cracked up laughing. Shantal said, "How does that work exactly?" Because Catherine said, "You met Dr. Miranda Lopez, did you not?" Shantal said, "The Puerto Rican woman with the soft voice?" Catherine said, "Yes." Shantal said, "She's a psychiatrist?" Catherine said, "Yes, and she's the underworld's therapist. She needs help. She's not going to be able to do that for the rest of her life. It's hard work and it gets heavy." Shantal said, "I hope I get to pick her brain." Catherine said, "You don't have to hope. I told you. Each of you will be assigned mentors. Dr. Miranda has already agreed to be one of yours." Shantal said, "This don't sound so bad. Can I, go to Puerto Rico and intern with her?" Saint said, "And leave your church?" Catherine said, "The Lopez family is a member of a church in Puerto Rico." Shantal said, "Now, is that one guy who was there really a member of the clergy, and is he related to us?" Catherine said, "That's Stephanie's husband. He's a pastor at a megachurch." Shantal said, "A megachurch?" Catherine said, "Forget about whatever you've heard about megachurches. Pastor Corey is a full-time, hands-on pastor with a congregation that he knows and loves, who know and love him." Shantal said, "And he married into this family?" Catherine said, "That's a long story. He can explain it to you himself. But one of the things you're going to have to do, if you plan to be a therapist, is be a whole lot less judgmental. You're going to build relationships with people who know how you were created, and they're not going to judge you." Simone said, "They shouldn't, because it's not our fault that our father was a philanderer." Catherine said, "And it's not my fault either. So let's put our pitchforks down and figure out how to be family. Do you want to be a part of a family, or do you just want to reap the benefits of being a part of the St. James family? Because what it costs is much more than what you might gain. You're going to shed some tears. You're going to pray some prayers. You're going to bury some people. You're going to make connections with people and find out all they wanted was money or power. You'll meet men who see you as a means to an end, and women who see you as a connection to their next sugar daddy. You'll make friends who'll turn out to be undercover agents. You'll plan a trip and find out that the family currently has a travel ban on that particular destination. You'll make a new love interest and find out that he or she is a member of an undesirable family. And it'll cost your brothers even more. The day will come where they'll have to end the life of a person who they thought was a friend. When they have to choose what's best for the family over their own freedom, they could very well make a mistake that costs them their lives. And they'll have to have the fortitude to keep their mouths shut, even at the face of torture or execution. This, my dears, is not a game. Then at a nod of Catherine's head, her chef came out and asked each of Nigel's children if they prefer beef, chicken, or fish. And as dinner was served, the triplets attempted to continue asking Catherine questions. She did not respond. After several unanswered questions, Simone finally said, "So, I thought that the purpose of this lunch was for us to get the information that we needed. Why are you ignoring us?" Catherine replied, "We discuss personal over meals, not business. And you'll quickly learn that when I'm not speaking, neither is anyone else." Then Catherine asked each of the girls about their courses of study, their friends, romantic interests, and the plans that they'd had for their futures before they found out that they were St. James's. And after soup, salad, entrees, and dessert, prepared by Catherine's 5-star chef, Catherine said, "Let's head to the drawing room for after-meal libations for the gentlemen and tea for the ladies." When Star said, "I don't really like tea," Catherine said, "You'll learn to like it." In the drawing room, Amir, Bigwood, and Selima were waiting. Bigwood and Amir were holding highball glasses. Selima was holding a teacup. Each was dressed to the nines in tailored business attire. Star asked, "Do y'all ever dress down? No jeans, no t-shirts?" Catherine said, "This is business. What you wear in your leisure time is on you. But when a meeting is called, you attend boardroom ready." Star said, "Well, that's not a problem, because I stay fly. I was just trying to get the 411. Catherine said, "Got it. Sincere, Saint, pour your own troubles. Ladies, enjoy your tea. And when it's time, I'll start with Sincere." Then she left the room and left all 5 of the children utterly confused. Simone asked, "So what exactly are we supposed to be doing here?" Selima said, "We're having tea, and you're learning how to behave. Grab a cup of tea, have a seat, cross your legs, and close your mouth." Simone said, "Now hold on. It's one thing for Catherine to be." Selima said, "In every room that you walk in, you will be the lowest ranking member. In this room, I am the highest ranking member. That means that every person in this room is following my lead. If Catherine returns, I'll defer to her. And if I leave, Amir will have the reins, since this is his boss's house. You'll find that we don't like to repeat ourselves. And after long, neither will you. Now, you want to start over, or you want me to repeat myself?" Shantal said, "Come on, y'all, let's just have a seat and drink this tea." When Selima's instructions were followed, she said, "Now I've been, or I currently am, where each and every one of you 5 are. I've been a finisher. I've been the daughter of the Kingpin, the pampered princess. I've been in a same-gendered relationship, enamored with an older man, and a hoe." When all 3 of the girls went to protest, Selima just leaned her head to the side. And when they all stopped talking, she looked directly at Sincere and said, "And now, I'm rounding out my training to become the head of the Baptiste family. You and I, cousin, will be counterparts. And all 5 of you and I will get very, very acquainted. Sincere, you're going to have to learn how to handle women like me. Saint, you're going to have to learn how to outsmart women like me. And you 3, pointing at the triplets, are going to have to learn how to be women like me."